Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Frostcast. In this episode, we are going to be talking about with ZD about Frostborn's global release, which is finally happening after many delays, and it's finally here. And ZD has been, with us from Last Day on Earth for quite some time, and so as I'm working on getting a lot of the, tips and tricks video done and all this stuff with all the changes that they've made so recently, I thought no better person for our first Frostcast during Global to be ZD. So, hey ZD.
Ooh. Hey JCF. All right.
So you said you had some questions, right?
Yeah, so these questions were kind of from my previous, or basically what I was doing was I was making a kind of like a Frostborn documentary. Almost. It's kind of similar if you've seen the one about Last Day on Earth that I did. It's kind of along those lines, and basically what there is during the documentary there's a few segments where I kind of talk with YouTubers kind of on how their opinions weigh based on how the game trajectory is going.
Okay.
So I guess my questions for you were, for this time, are more of, did your answer change from the last time we recorded this? If you need the audio, I can send that to you.
Okay.
So I guess I'll just go in order. Last time we kind of talked about the Frostborn lifespan and how long we think /C it could be. And you previously estimated Frostborn's lifespan was about 1.5 years at max. Do you still think that's the case after these last few months, the summer months, and have those affected your answer?
Yeah, if I remember correctly about, its lifespan, I think I said if there was no updates after this, other than where it currently was at. Because I do believe that Frostborn has the potential to last forever, at least at some level, because of multiplayer. And unlike Last Day on Earth, multiplayer it just makes the game fresh. Every time, and so I still think that is true, and I have even more faith than I did because, I think last time we talked, I was somewhat excited that they had fixed, they had done some changes with the door limit and with the range,
I remember that,
and with rating. They made rating a lot better, and those were big changes that needed to happen. They were things that really made a lot of players kind of scared off from the game, but recently they've made, this last update that they're using to now push for global, which will be out by the time this video is being released. They just made like 3 monumental changes. They added the repair table back for free-to-play players.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of complaints, even outside of the community.
Yeah, it basically made it so. Some of the things, I'll just kind of give you a little bit of what's happened since that last thing. Some of the bad things that happened. They made, actually, I think during the last discussion, they had just made PvP a lot better. Some people were upset about it, but they I think were short-sighted. They made PvP longer engagements. They made it harder to kill someone, but easier to kill them after a long battle. Like, you're going to run out of health eventually. You can't just keep healing. And what that did is it made durability a lot worse in the game, because you would have these long battles, and by the time you killed someone, you would get scraps left over, and maybe you would get their gear, but it had very little to nothing left. That in combination with no free-to-play way of getting a repair table was just absolutely dumb, because the whole point of Frostborn, the thing that makes it not as pay to win as something like, Last Day on Earth or some of these other games, is you can steal. You can, if someone buys something, unless it's, classes can still be pretty pay to win, but when it comes to gear, you can gang up on them, and if they play dumb, you can take their gear, and then it's your gear. And now that they fixed the repair table, now a free-to-play player can take that gear and use it and then reuse it and then reuse it and reuse it and reuse it over and over again. So that was a huge change. But then they also, on top of that, increased durability. So now when you have a fight, you're not going to get scraps anymore. You're going to get a half-used item, which is really nice. Again, it's really nice for free-to-play players, but it's also nice just for anyone because you're not having to go through weapons like it's, candy.
Yeah.
So I would say, as far as longevity of Frostborn, it's still at it a year and a half. Just if they don't make any changes, just because eventually people are going to get bored. There isn't anything long lasting as far as like PvP. It's hard to find PvP sometimes. If the game's doing well, then it'll be easy to find PvP, and then the game. So it's one of those reciprocating things. If the game's doing well, it'll keep doing well. If it starts to do worse and people start having trouble finding PvP, they're gonna leave unless the devs intervene with new updates and stuff to keep that hype up. There will always be a community that is faithful to. They'll make their own games up. I mean, a lot of the YouTubers that cover Frostborn they've literally made up their own tournaments. They've created their own content for the game. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, this is kind of off track, but do you think that's enough to carry the game or prolong the lifespan?
I think for a small amount of people, yes, but I do not think that it's gonna. If they want this game, which I think they do, I think this is Kefir's. I've said this for a while. I know you've probably seen this in some of my videos.
Yeah.
I feel like Frostborn is Kefir's secret plan to fulfill the Last Day on Earth dream, and I think that they're going to hit it hard. I don't know why they're not sharing more information about it. I don't know why they're not building more hype up about it, but my suspicion is they're going to hit it hard with advertising. Once global happens, it's going to be their new focus. And so I think that they will come up with stuff, even by the fact that they've been listening to people's requests so much. I think that they have things in store that to build that, to keep that hype going.
Yeah, I wonder if they're even gonna call it a beta, because I know with Brawl Stars, when Brawl Stars went global, they didn't really call it a beta anymore.
I hope so, but they will not tell me this stuff. They've just been. I mean, yeah, it's Kefir. They're just really secretive about things, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they won't. I don't know. They're just real. They like to be secretive about things.
If your answer hasn't changed from last time, no problem. I'll just use your old clip and the old answer, since the answer kind of really hit on how Frostborn would overtake Last Day on Earth. But I want to put that question forward again to note if any changes. Do you believe Frostborn will overtake Last Day on Earth? I know Last Day on Earth has taken some, let's just say, not so favorable steps towards their player base, and in direction they've taken some of these updates. So do you think that growing frustration with LDOE will play into Frostborn's success?
Yes, I do. So this, I think, has changed quite a bit. My answer has changed quite a bit since last time, because from my understanding, I think my answer last time was it will take a long time for Frostborn to overtake Last Day on Earth, because Google will keep promoting Last Day on Earth just because it's the bigger game. It's been around longer. I think that is still true from a Google perspective, but Google serves the people, and if the people are in enough unison, they can overpower some of those algorithms. And it sounds like since our last time we talked, Last Day on Earth has taken even more downturn, because just more seasons, more kind of the same old, more people are even more upset. Is that true?
Yeah, I would agree, especially like Season 9. Last time we talked, Season 9 hadn't come out. Season 9 comes out, people are excited, then they make changes, it goes downhill. Season 10, even more downhill from that. Even now, Season 11, when we're recording this, even more downhill from that.
Yeah, I know that for me personally, it's hard for me to even open the game. I feel just very it doesn't feel good to when someone talks positively of Last Day on Earth for me to have this like weird feeling of like you just don't know. And I don't like that, so I've been just trying to avoid it. And I'm just sad with how it's been developed, but I also, Frostborn's the reason I haven't given up on Kefir.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that growing frustration with Last Day on Earth is going to push Frostborn even further than it would have gone?
I don't know if it'll push it further. I think it'll push it faster. I think Frostborn's strength is in the quality of the game. I don't know how well Kefir will advertise it or what their plans are on promoting it. But I do think that it's one of those things where the gamers that play it, they're like, if they give it enough time, they're like, oh my gosh, this game is just so rich, and there's so many things that I didn't even know mobile gaming could do, and then they keep doing more things, and you're like, wow, how are they doing this? And so I think that that's going to push itself. But yes, I think that with people getting so frustrated with Last Day on Earth, it will just make it much easier for Frostborn a way to vent their frustration, or a way to, I don't know.
Escape,
I think, like it'll launch it. It might be the perfect time if since Frostborn's being right now when people are at kind of a peak of frustration with Last Day on Earth, it might be the perfect time to launch it. However, I know a lot of people that are really skeptical of Frostborn precisely because of Last Day on Earth. And, as of a week ago, the Frostborn community was still like weeping because of the previous two updates were really bad, and they actually kind of reminded us of Last Day on Earth. And a lot of us were thinking, oh crap, here it goes again. They haven't even launched the game, and it's just another Last Day on Earth. And it wasn't until they literally fixed 3 major things that they didn't tell us they were going to fix it. It was just a complete surprise. They were like, by the way, PvP's fixed. By the way, repair tables fixed. By the way, durability's fixed. It's like almost the 3 biggest things in the game are just fixed instantly. And they were all the things that the players were asking for. So it was like, and that's something that we don't see in Last Day on Earth, right? Where we're like, hey, listen to us. Here are the things that are a problem with the game. And then we see an update, and Last Day on Earth fixes, it would be like Last Day on Earth being like, here's permanent content. And here's like, it just sounds funny to even talk about Last Day on Earth in that way. I can't imagine them coming up with an update where they're like, hey, we fixed the ATV. we fixed these things. We'd be like, what the heck just happened? Like, where have the last 2 years been?
Yeah. They do like some changes, but they're always to fix the stuff that players like. So like the crossroads, for example, people use the crossroads trick to sneak the first car and take the loot and just run, and then just rinse and repeat. But then they patch that and they put like a zombie right there, so you can't sneak that. They go out of their way to fix the tricks that players use, but then all of the stuff that's like hurting the game, they just don't touch.
Yeah, that's really sad. I've been trying to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of blowing a whistle that doesn't feel like it ever gets heard.
Yeah. Final words to say to those who might be considering the game due to global, or maybe those who left it and are considering a return. Any words to say to them? But I feel like you already touched on that really well.
Well, I do have one thing to say, and just I feel bad for people that there are people that they just love the zombie theme in a way that the Viking magic, swords, all of that stuff will just never hit that spot for them. And, as a Last Day on Earth, fan, as someone who was promoting it for so long, I just want you guys to know that makes sense. I'm sorry that that's how it's ended up being, but I I strongly encourage you not to let that keep you from it, because those that are big Last Day on Earth fans, I would say my argument is that 75% of the reason you love the game is because the intellectual property of Kefir is brilliant and fantastic, and 25% is because you love the theme. And what I've experienced is a lot of people that say they won't like Frostborn, that say they won't like those theme because of the theme. Once they actually play it, they realize, no, it really is the IP, Kefir's IP, that is so brilliant. And to see it done in the way that we wanted it to get done is just makes us happy. It makes us like believe that this can actually happen. And it gives me hope for, I don't know, I just think hopefully someday, if Frostborn explodes as much as I think it will, hopefully Kefir will create a new zombies theme, one that has all of the things that we want. Or maybe, I doubt they'll ever do this just based on the past, but maybe they'll actually fix Last Day on Earth. I don't know. I don't know why they won't. Maybe it's because they're worried about cutting into if they change the game too much, they'll cut into the income. They must have something that's working as far as something, because they are enduring a lot of frustration and hate, and they just take it. They just take it, and they're like, oh well, and they just take it over and over again. And then meanwhile, they're building something beautiful in secret, and they don't talk about it. They're not like, probably because that would maybe create more hate if they were like, let's talk about this other game. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why they are like, a lot of bigger games. They'll be like, here's the new game coming. Like, sign up, hit pre-register for it. They don't seem to do any of that.
Yeah. I feel like I always go back to this example, but Supercell Brawl Stars launching, they really, really did a good job in bringing that game to the eyes of Supercell players.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I'm very, so to fill me in a little bit, I heard season 11 was the worst it's been.
Yeah. Season 11, I'll steal this quote from probably one of the staffers. Season 11 should have never been made a season. It's basically quality of life changes made as a season.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no real content, especially after people are really angry about season 9 and that change that they made.
Yeah.
Like, the only really good thing they did was increase air filters, but that's it.
Yeah, season 9. Oh yeah, season 11 is the Sector 7 season. Yeah.
Yep.
Season 9 was exciting. I was like, oh, maybe they are gonna do something with Last Day on Earth. They made the air filter change, which honestly, it was definitely bad, but it was still like, really, yeah. And season 11, once I heard it was a Sector 7 update that was not good, I was like, okay, they don't have a plan, or at least it doesn't seem like they have a plan to make Last Day on Earth. And some people are fine with that. They're scared of multiplayer. They're scared of, playing against a real player. But to me, it's just so invigorating, and the setup really gives enough of the advantage that if you play smart, even if you're not good at the game, you can succeed, because you have to, work the system in your favor.
I lost my train of thought. I was going to talk about season 12. I mean, like you said in the last video we did, how long is it going to take till it gets kind of old? Because already it's getting kind of old. Season 12, 13, 14, it's just going to keep going. But season 12 even, I know they keep pushing like this weird Genesis theme from the laboratory, and then kind of connects to 12, but I don't really see the connection. If you just look at the past, it doesn't feel like it's going to work. But I'm just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been indicative of Last Day on Earth. They've never had a storyline that makes sense. each story makes sense, but none of the stories
add up.
really connect in a meaningful way. And Frostborn isn't amazing at the storyline. It's definitely not a Grim Soul survival, but it has much more than Last Day on Earth, and it is all it all is congruent, and it implies that it might have an amazing storyline. Like it kind of sets the scene of like why the immortals are here, why the gods have disappeared. It kind of sets some of the background, but they haven't really landed it yet. And so, but they could. It definitely set up in a way that they could land a Grim Soul level storyline, but but they haven't implemented it yet. But it's definitely more congruent than Last Day on Earth.
That's good to hear.
And you haven't played Frostborn in probably close to a year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've opened it a time every now and then, maybe, but I really haven't kept up.
But you haven't played since classes. Like, you haven't tried to upgrade any classes or anything like that, right?
When you say classes, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So that was the big update that we were talking about, because it had happened before you and I had talked in our last time. And that was the big update where people were like, oh my goodness, this is a whole new level. Like, I had already argued that Frostborn was better than Last Day on Earth, but that was specifically just because of multiplayer. Once the classes update came out, it was like, oh, now the content is significantly more than Last Day on Earth. And since then, it's been update after update of like 1,000 changes, or probably an average of like 500 changes per update, and all permanent content. Now, sometimes they're changing permanent content, but it has just been crazy changes.
I am excited to try it out come global, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that is one thing that I'm just making sure people know. The beta servers are still going to be available when global comes out, and I recommend not choosing them. They're going to have a bunch of advanced players that are, like my main character is completely maxed out on all the classes. You don't want to PvP with that. Start on a new server, and as long as it doesn't say beta, then you're good. Start on whatever server. I mean, it should automatically put you in one of those servers when you start if it's after global, but when it does, then yeah. So just don't do a beta. Don't switch over to a beta server, even though you might see like a YouTuber that you like is on a beta server. They're probably going to switch to. I know I'm going to create multiple new accounts on new servers, because that's where the fun is, because everyone's going to be, level 1 at the same time.
No one's going to know how the game works, and crazy experience.
Yeah, it apparently. So the last time that global was going to come out, when we recorded that last episode of this, that we never post. You never posted that video, right?
Yeah, no. I was gonna save it for global.
So then global got canceled, canceled. Delayed, yeah. Indefinitely, which was scary. Yeah. And then they were like, but they did release an international server, so we all got to experience what it would be like to have a brand new server, and it was just a blast. People were like, it is just so fun to go into a tomb and realize there's not going to be anyone with max gear, because no one has max gear in the game. And now since then, unfortunately, they have made it to where someone could theoretically within an hour get max gear by like working they'd have to pay a lot of money, but they could get max gear. But I have a feeling that might actually still work to our advantage, because a lot of those people that do that, they don't necessarily work as a team. They're just so drunk on the power of being so OP that a skilled free-to-play team. I think that they should work on, okay, let's get the basics that we need with some bolas, some, stun grenades. Let's get with the basics that we need to take down something like that. And then let's hide in a bush and gank them 4 versus 1. And then a bunch of people in level 1 gear are going to take out a guy in full purple because they're dumb. And then they get that purple gear, and then they can go repair it at Newheim, at the free-to-play repair table, and then they're the OP family because they just played smart. So I'm pretty excited about seeing that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for coming on, answering these questions, kind of bringing some insight. Really excited to try out Global when that comes, probably in like a month. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Not sure when it's going to come out, but I'm trying to get ready as quick as possible. So this will be the first Frostcast once Global comes out. So and yeah, I'm excited about seeing some ZD videos on Frostborn. It's been a while.
Same to you.
All right,
Just
man.
Looking for like a giant 500 tips and tricks.
So I already have one. It's 331 tips and tricks for Frostborn. It's 36 minutes long. The problem is 20% of it's out of date. So I am going to be rushing to get it done as fast as I can. I'm afraid Global's going to happen way sooner than a month from now. And so I am just rushing to try to get it done. I'm afraid that they're going to release Global before I'm able to finish it. But when I get it done, I think it's my best video I've ever made, just because I put so much time into it. So,
well, excited to see it.
All right, man. All right, guys. So that was our first Frostcast for Global. Global is out. I'm so excited about playing with you guys. I am working as hard as I can to make as many videos as I can. The team is making as many videos as I can. Hopefully we've already produced a few of them and we're releasing them. The goal is to release daily content for Frostborn. We'll see if we're able to make that happen or not. It's gonna be a lot of work, but we are working hard. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.